What is up, my creative fellas? In this video we are going to learn how to make this retro looking gaming style image inside of Photoshop. So welcome to the old days. Welcome again everybody, here we are inside of Photoshop and I already have my image open, and as you know, the first thing to do is clipping or masking, and this is the pen tool, my favorite tool ever. So I'm just cutting myself out of the background real quick, and once I'm done, I'll be back. Then I dropped myself onto the new background. This is an image that I downloaded off of shutterstock.com, and I scaled myself down and try to match the perspective as good as I can. I'm just eyeballing it, to be honest. I had already found the best perspective before and I've placed myself there already, so that's why you see another ghost of me visible in the background. Of course I needed some shadows, so instead of painting them, I thought why not use the original shadows. So I just opened up the original image and I only made a selection around my feet where the shadows are visible, and I brought it onto the new background and then put the blend mode to multiply so that only the dark areas are visible, and that is how you extract the original shadows. But at the end I also had to do a little painting, but that was fine, not a hard job. And yeah, it is time for light matching and color matching again. So another solid black set to color mode so that the image turns black and white so you can see the lights better, and then using a levels adjustment layer I matched the lights perfectly. I also like to zoom in and out onto the image so that I can view the image as different sizes and I can spot any mistakes if there is. Then it is time to match the colors. I don't know how many times I gotta say this, but a 50% gray solid color adjustment layer set to luminosity blend mode, and the curves on top of it to boost the tones. You can clearly see that I do not blend in with the background. So the first thing I did, now that I can see the colors, I grabbed a gradient map and I clipped it to myself, and then I started sampling colors from the background. For the dark parts, I grabbed colors from the dark areas of the background. It was kind of like a dark bluish tone, and for the bright parts, I sampled colors from the highlights of the background. It is something pretty obvious. You have to just mess around with these colors till you get the best result. And after that, I put the blend mode to color, and I brought down the opacity till it kind of looks good. This is actually the base, it's not the complete version. This is only the base because I usually change colors using curves. So I grabbed a curves and I clipped it to myself, and I took the red, green and blue channels so that I look like the background. You can clearly see the difference. As I keep on changing the colors, I blend in more and more with the background. So that's what you want to do with your own images. And always try to find the best opacity percentage. And hey, guess what? My background was too short. I mean, half of the image is gone, as you can see. So I actually had to fill up the rest of the background. So what I did was I grabbed some parts of this building and I tried to complete the building up to the edge of the background. So it was kind of hard to guess how the perspective behaves without even no guides or anything at all. So before I do anything, I decided to draw some guidelines for myself so that I can work more efficiently. So what I did basically is that I grabbed my line tool and I just drew some lines from the sides of the building. I followed the perspective of it, and after I did that, I was able to easily fill up those areas and continue the building up into the sky. So I just cut parts of the building using the polygonal lasso tool. I hit Ctrl J, so only that part gets cut and copied onto a new layer. Then I grab the part and I just use that to fill up the empty areas. That's basically what I did. And filling up the rest of the image was just a piece of cake. I just grabbed a brush and sampled colors and started painting all over it. Since it was kind of like a monotone color, it was pretty easy, and in a matter of a couple of seconds it was done. And damn, I love this part of every composite. It was time for painting some great highlights. A normal layer, a soft round brush, and an appropriate color is all you need. Let's get to work. Then I blurred the background in accordance with the perspective. I used a couple of tilt shifts to blur it. You can see how I did it. And got this little doll of Mario. I placed it over there and I repeated everything over again, matching the light, matching the colors, painting highlights and all that. So you probably know what to do. And dice. These are one of my favorite games. I have a photo of some dice, and the first thing I need to do is to remove the background and refine the edges, and then I added some dice onto the image as a foreground to create depth of field and matching the light color and everything else as always. And yeah, I always like to paint some fog at the background and the foreground. It helps a lot with the dimension of the image, so I grabbed a fog brush. You can download any fog brush that you want, you can use anything. If you don't know where to download it, you can download it from brusheasy.com. It's just a free website for downloading amazing brushes. Just grab a fog brush and on a layer, paint some fog. And you can also bring down the opacity, and also don't forget to blur the fog a little bit to get rid of the sharp edges. And this is a smoke overlay that I pretty much use in every composite where there is smoke. I put that on top of everything, and then I had to mask out some areas because it was covering my face. Then it was time for blurring the objects in the image. So I blurred some of them with motion blur and some other with just a simple Gaussian blur. That just depends on how you want it to look like. You want some objects to be moving around, so you use motion blur on them, and some other to just be steady but blurry, so you use Gaussian blur. You can also use box blur, but that's not really something to use since it gives like kind of a weird look. Box blur is just good for blurring the background. So use Gaussian blur or motion blur with these things and blur them accordingly. Keep the distance in mind and blur them more or less depending on the focal length they have and on their distance from the camera. I brightened the dots on the dice using a black layer set to color dodge mode, and I just dabbed with a white color. It just turned the dots on. I thought it looks cooler. And this is just a retro joystick. I always use these kind of things. So do I even need to explain what to do with it? You know I'm a big fan of these wires that just roll around the photo and go through the camera, and the way I create them is by using the pen tool. So I trace the path that I want the wire to follow along with the pen tool, and then I stroke the path with the brush, and after that I give it depth and dimension by using a brush. I just paint highlights on it so that it looks real and it comes to life, and that's how I do it. Then again, I created some spotlights using this ultimate technique, a black layer set to color dodge mode, and then I just dabbed with a brush and an appropriate color. And then I dodged and burned the image in my skin so that it kind of looks better. If you don't know how to dodge and burn, or if you know how to do it but you are not sure whether you're doing it the right way or not, well, I gotta tell you that an in-depth tutorial about dodging and burning will be soon uploaded to the channel. So if you haven't subscribed already, please click on the subscribe button and ring the bell so you stay tuned for that. And no worries about it. Thumbs up. And hey, you don't know how much of a difference it makes to just put a glowing spot behind your model. It helps a lot to separate your subject from the background and to give it depth. All these depth tips, man, they are getting over my head. But make sure to use them in your composites. They can make a change. Then I thought it'd be cool if I added this game over board to the scene to kind of help add a little bit of retro vibes into it. So then again, I cut it out and I put it on my image, and then I also added a little bit of glow to it so it looks more interesting. And then I created another layer with overlay blend mode, and I sampled colors and painted onto the image to add more colors and vibrance to the image. It kind of looks cool and creates some sort of a light leak. And here we are at the end of our composite, and it is time to color grade. If you don't know how to color grade, I'll link the color grading video in the description. Make sure to check it out. And as the final word, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please click on the subscribe button and ring the bell. It is gonna help me a lot to grow this channel, to create more and better content for you guys each week. And I hope to see you in my next episode soon. Till then, take care of yourself and peace out.